Justin Carbone is the EVP of Live Touring at Rocket, where he's led the company's music touring business through some of the biggest years in the industry's history, including a 2026 Parnelli Award for Freight Forwarding Company of the Year. If your favorite artist has toured the world in the last 6 decades, there's a very good chance that Rocket's team has moved the gear that made it happen. So I get to sit down with Justin Carbone. Thank you so much for doing this. Next month marks 20 years of working with Rocket. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
You guys have become the absolute dominator in the industry. What I want to know is, how do you do it? Like, what do you guys do?
What we do isn't rocket science.
Okay.
We are a freight company moving boxes from A to B. However, everybody can do it in ideal conditions. Anybody can move cargo from one city to the next, given enough time and in the most perfect conditions. Mm-hmm. When the weather's good, when there's no delays, when there's no political or geopolitical environments to navigate, when there's no strikes or ports or anything of that, what we do is we do it within the most adverse conditions.
Take me back to the start. What was your very first gig?
Before I got in the world of music touring, I started in general freight in the late 90s. I had a small freight forwarding company, family company, worked there for about 4 or 5 years in the New York City area. And then in 2002, moved my way into music touring. The first gig I ever did was day one. I never even went to the office. The person I was handling the tour asked me to show up in Miami, and we took Enrique Iglesias from Miami to Puerto Rico in a 747.
Okay, then. That's a good first day.
Yeah. We almost missed the show.
Why?
We had 5 days to move the cargo from Miami to Puerto Rico while they took a small separate set of gear through shows in the Caribbean.
Oh.
And we got up in the 747 full plane. We got about halfway to Puerto Rico, and the hydraulics were broken in the plane, and turned around and went back to Miami.
Day of show?
It was a few days before the show.
Oh my gosh.
And we landed back in Miami and spent 24 hours sitting in the pilot lounge while they fixed the plane, and then went to Puerto Rico. It's a 3-hour flight. It took us about 3.5 days to get there.
Oh my gosh. This is, I'm sure, one of the many billion things that could go wrong in getting people and things to shows. And if there's one thing everyone knows in the music industry is the show has to go on. Seats are sold, seats are filled. You got to have the show. And for me, from where I'm standing of my experience in the industry, shows always go on. Gear always gets to whatever country it needs to get to. Rocket does like literally every artist. Over 47 years that Rocket's been around, I'm assuming that requires relationships and just warehouse space around the world to use and all the connections with getting into countries. And out. Do you guys struggle? Have there ever been issues of getting gear into different countries?
Sure. So going back to Rocket Cargo's roots in the 1970s, we are one of the companies that was the architect of getting cargo around the world. We're at the precipice in the forefront of moving cargo into certain cities, such as taking Queen to Brazil for the first time.
Okay.
Opening up different markets, Southeast Asia, places in Africa. We're the only company that's ever moved the cargo to and did a show in Antarctica for Metallica.
What?
There are places where people have come to us and said, we need to move into a certain area or a certain country. And we've had to literally write the book on how to do it. Taking the Rolling Stones to Cuba, certain shows like that. So we have the largest network in the world. We have the most trusted network in the world. And we also have longstanding relationships with lots of people in all the countries around the world.
That's the secret sauce.
It is. Our network is definitely our secret sauce.
And I like how you said anyone can do this in good conditions, but most things are just not good conditions, weather and everything.
Look, from time to time, we have great conditions.
Yeah.
And it makes our job very enjoyable. And those are the days you can have a nice dinner once you deliver the cargo to the show and enjoy your evening.
Yes.
Oftentimes, that's not the case.
I want to go into, so you had your first gig with Enrique Iglesias.
Who we still work with 25 years later.
How amazing. What cool full circle moment.
Great artist, great partner. I wish we had all clients that were like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
My first show I ever worked was Dolly Parton, and then I got to work a show 6 years later for her. And also, can everyone just be like Dolly? Wow. Take me into what you did next in your career and what led you to Rocket.
So I worked at a competitive company in the early 2000s. And then in 2006, I made the move over to the Rocket Company, opening up an office in New Jersey, running that office for about 15 years. And then in 2020, I moved here to Los Angeles to help manage and run the live touring team.
Why live touring? Why is that the direction you went?
I was working in general freight in the late 90s in New York City, and a lot of my customers were in the live industry space, speakers, staging companies, lighting companies. I had no idea that Rocket existed. I had no idea that even an industry existed that was music touring or live concert touring. Like everybody else, I just like going to shows and enjoying them, never thinking about how everything got there.
Yeah.
Once I had sort of roots in the freight world and I was understanding that what it takes to move things from A to B, then we looked into sort of specialties. And some of my clients were sort of dragging me in that direction. And a competitive company called me out of the blue and said, hey, do you want to come work for us? And that's what it was.
That's too cool.
I moved to New Jersey, and that was the start of the career.
Amazing. So you come into Rocket, you now are leading live touring, getting everything around the world. Some of, I see on your wall, we got Shakira, who's closing FIFA, the World Cup this year. And then you got Katy Perry, who's opening it. And so these are artists that you've worked with. In what capacity do you work with these artists? Who do you work with on the touring team? And how involved do you guys get?
So the answer to the question of who we work with on the team is traditionally the production manager. Okay. That's where the relationship lies. I'm lucky enough to have really deep-rooted relationships with some of my production managers that have hired us to work. The longer you work with them, the more they trust you, the more you produce results, the more they'll give you information to route things and work on the tours. Yeah.
And so someone like Marty Hum, who we were just talking about, who's right here, picture him over there. You've worked with him, I'm sure, for over a decade now at this point.
So the first time I worked with Marty was on the Shakira tour in 2011. It's the first one. I'd been doing touring for close to 10 years at that point, and it's the first mega tour or large scale tour with large aircrafts that I was responsible for running through South America and Central America. Marty was at the helm. He was the tour director, and he was kind, and he was very supportive of working with the production manager and letting us run the show. There were all kinds of things that went wrong on that tour. There was anything but ideal conditions on that tour. We had situations where planes were broke. We had situations where we had floods in certain cities in Brazil, which forced us to do back-to-back, day-over-day stadium shows. One from Brazil, in Brasilia, the next day in Lima, Peru.
Whoa.
Taking large-scale productions, 747-style productions, finishing a show at midnight in Brasilia and delivering the next day at noon in Lima, Peru.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
For a stadium show like that, how many aircrafts and trucks are you guys managing?
So over the years, it's gotten bigger and larger scale for many, many reasons.
Yeah.
The production can have as tight as one aircraft moving around, very efficient through the world. We are now moving some shows around that are in the 9 to 10 aircraft, 9 to 10 full 747 aircraft style productions.
So relationships are the secret sauce of Rocket and of the people working at Rocket. And so that's how you've had these long-standing relationships. What are some other relationships you've had?
From the Shakira tour that we did, the production manager, who's a dear friend, called me up at one point around 2010 and said, hey, I'm at a crossroads. I'm going to take one of two jobs. I'm either going to stay with Shakira, who's going to tour, or I'm going to take this new artist called Katy Perry and see how that artist is going to move forward. We had a long discussion as friends and as work colleagues, and he chose to go on the Katy Perry route, and we got involved in that train, which hasn't stopped in the last 15 years.
No, it has not.
No.
I mean, she doesn't keep. I mean, she literally went to the moon, didn't she? Just now, go to the
yeah. We weren't involved in the moon. We weren't involved in the moon.
Did you move Katy Perry to the space?
We did not. We did not.
Rockets are next for you guys. Come on, yeah. Rocket cargo. Okay.
Rockets.
Rocket rockets. Might need one. That's cool. So, talk about what that looks like of a emerging artist and what growth looks like with an artist.
So, from our perspective, we are a vendor on the tour. We are a cog in the wheel. And as an artist grows throughout their journey, we're there to support them in terms of what they want and what they need around the world to create their vision. An artist like Katy, in our opinion, sees the shows going around the world as they build her brand. right? And so some of the things that we move around the world may not be technically for the show. They may be for some of the brand building. And that just becomes part of the cargo package. But it's really interesting. And it's one of the joys of my career is to watch and work with an artist like that grow from a certain California, into California Dreams was the first tour we did internationally, through some of the other tours, Prismatic, Witness, and on and on. And as they grew and grew and grew, the staff stayed around and we really grew with that artist together. And it was a joy and really a pleasure in my career to watch that artist grow and be part of it.
Yeah. You all have become the experts in getting these touring shows around the world, which has led to this massive partnership with FIFA, Rocket becoming the official logistics partner for FIFA for the World Cup that's coming, the largest sporting event in the world history. That's a really big deal. You're also having world tours going on at the same time. How are you managing both?
For 50 years, we've been perfecting how to move live events around the world and how to make sure, as you mentioned before, the show must go on.
Yeah.
So taking those lessons learned and the architecture that we've built around moving large live events, we have partnered with FIFA to handle this large scale event. My responsibility is to make sure that the live touring division and the live touring team has what they need to continue to grow and provide the best services for our customers. Make sure that all the tours have all the resources and all the firepower that they need to make sure that their shows continue on while the company grows into supporting another large mega event like the FIFA World Cup. And while we're supporting the FIFA World Cup, we're also supporting some of the largest world tours in 2026 and beyond.
Can you name some of those?
We're currently supporting Harry Styles, BTS, AC/DC, and others.
And do you also do arena size and amphitheater size shows?
Yeah. So one of the things that we're really excited about is making sure we're creating a NextGen for the artists of the future. So we're constantly teaching and preparing some of our staff to go out and be the agents of tomorrow. We call them NextGen. And those folks are concentrating on the emerging artists and supporting anything from a band in a van with a simple customs clearance across the border, all the way up through the theatrical process into arenas, amphitheaters, and eventually into stadiums. One of the things that we love working with, and as I mentioned with Katy, is working with an emerging artist, watching them find their footing and accelerating through the curve into larger and larger venues where we can then support them going around the world.
Wow. And I assume, is it the same technique in that secret sauce that you guys have here at Rocket that's doing the World Cup? Is it the same way, or do you guys have to do things differently with sports?
There's definitely some differences.
Okay.
I think the mission is always failure is not an option.
Oof.
So, that's sort of one thing that we've always been taught. Failure is not an option. One of the other ones that we've always been taught is sort of the approach determines the landing, which is something that the founder of the company had always installed and instilled into a lot of us and a lot of the staff where, hey, think about it, make sure you have a plan A, make sure you have a plan B. But at the end of the day, the show has to go on. And so I think we're bringing that thought process and that approach into some of these large mega events, such as the FIFA World Cup, such as supporting F1 races, supporting the Olympics, and some of our other divisions.
How big is Rocket? How many employees do you guys have?
The Rocket company is about 1,200 worldwide. The Rocket Cargo division is about 300 or so.
That's not that many for doing the largest events ever. Right. And do you have employees that are also touring with these shows?
We have lots of people that are responsible for a specific show.
Yeah.
And then we have certain employees that will be on site or attendance.
Yeah.
We have people that are amazing at it, and that's what they do as a living. We have people that are amazing that are, at the control towers and making sure things are handled from an office perspective. But yeah, we have people on the road.
It's a good gig. It's a world that, again, when I was trying to look into this industry, I didn't know that this side existed. But people that are, what would you say, people at Rocket, employees that work here, your team, what would you say are their top qualities that make them great at what they do?
Everybody here has, and we instill and teach, again, that failure is not an option. That is a lesson number one. We look at things a little bit differently than, say, the general freight forwarder would look at it when their perspective is making sure they save and they have the most efficient way of doing it in terms of cost. our clients, while they are very cost conscious and we are very budget conscious with them, know that sometimes we have to go outside the box and think things differently. As again, I mentioned, ideal conditions are amazing. Sunny days, no delays at airports.
Right.
Those are great, great days. But the days where things go sideways, when somebody else that we're relying on doesn't do their job, we have to make sure 24 hours constantly monitoring, making sure that there's a plan B in place.
Do you have a horror story that you just pray never happens again, or you learned it the hard way?
I have many. A funny one would be, it was a large scale tour going through Manila. We had landed on the day we were supposed to deliver the cargo day before show.
Okay.
We were loading in that evening to tech. It was an outdoor show, so it was essential that we loaded in that evening so they could program lights. We land early afternoon. We're in the Philippines. I get pulled into the customs office, and the woman who's in charge of customs was waiting on a signature from somebody downtown. It was the Office of Tourism. And she said, I think we should pray for customs clearance. And I kind of took it as a joke, yeah, of course we should, we should all pray for it. But no, we sat for 30 minutes in a prayer session in this woman's office in front of a statue and literally prayed for customs clearance. And it came. It came about an hour later.
Prayer works.
Prayer works.
Is it because maybe she really did not think it was going to happen for you?
Yeah. I mean, she was a very wonderful woman, religious woman. And, I don't know if it's a horror story, but it's a funny story.
That's a fun one.
I mean, we've have all kinds of stories of, aircrafts, because we don't own the aircrafts and we don't own the trucks and we don't own the cargo vans. So we rely on other people's equipment, like most freight forwarders.
Yeah.
But when they are grounded, when there's weather issues, when there's mechanical issues, there's all kinds of horror stories that we have to come and figure out.
Is there a certain continent or country or city that there's always issues?
Definitely around the world. I would say the less industrious countries oftentimes are harder to work in because the systems aren't set up.
Right.
But oftentimes they're easier to work in because there's not as many controls in place.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And weather. What state is the worst in the U.S. to navigate?
Oh God, I mean maybe Alaska. I don't know. They're all pretty bad.
Can you talk to me about Antarctica? How did that happen?
That was a Metallica show that happened about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And one of the rocket agents who was working on that took the show from the southern tip of Argentina into Antarctica, and they did a show.
That's crazy. Can anyone go to Antarctica? No. Metallica can.
Yep.
Rocket can. What are some of the tours that you are working with this summer?
We work with bands and tours of all sizes across all genres. This year specifically, we're working with some of the genres we're very excited about: Latin music, country, Nashville-based music, and K-pop as they run around the world, global tours, specifically some of the ones that are heading to regions and areas that they're not necessarily known for going to. Some of the Latin American tours that are starting to explore Australia, Southeast Asia, some of the country tours that are starting to explore deep into Europe and down to Australia, the K-pop tours that are deep into Latin America and around the world.
So in 2026, obviously, social media is helping these artists actually reach global markets and sell tickets in places that they never thought they could. But I feel like knowing that they have a partner like Rocket would help them too. Just knowing that, oh my God, we're going to go to Asia now. We have no idea what to do over there. Well, using Rocket, how do you guys see your involvement helping with this kind of explosion?
Yeah, as fan bases grow more rapidly these days, the productions and the clients are coming to us with the need to now bring the full show around the world oftentimes. So they can bring that to their fan base, not just to certain areas of the world, which traditionally there were certain areas where you could tour on the ground, maybe in North America, maybe in Europe, even into Australia. And some of the other markets would get a secondary or B-size show just because of the economics. Now the fan bases are demanding these larger shows and the A-style shows, and they're coming to us and asking, how do we move this amount of freight? How do we move this amount of production during this time? And they're leaning on us for routing expertise, certain city segments and city pairs that make it more economical than others versus just going out and doing the tour. So that's really become an important part of what we do in the last 3 to 4 years.
Is that consulting and advising on here's what our experience has shown, talking with the artist management teams of kind of where to route? That's really special.
Yeah, and the clients really do rely on us for honest feedback in terms of what's best for the tour. And it's our responsibility to sit with them, help them route the cities and help them route the tour and around in certain kind of time frames that makes it the most economical for them to move around.
What do you see for you in this position with Rocket, with this growing live event, live touring market? How do you see this evolving over the next 5 to 10 years?
I see exactly what we just talked about, which is fan bases are growing.
Yeah.
More artists are going to go global. More artists are going to build brands, which becomes a very important part of what the touring economics are. Promoters can only give you so much money to go out and do a show because there's only so many tickets you can sell. The secondary money is the, bringing the brand, bringing the experience, bringing that festival vibe of the experiential side of it. What else can they bring? What else can they bring the fan so that they can enjoy the experience?
So we'll be talking to Stu about that.
Correct.
That's super interesting. Thank you so much, Justin.
Thanks for
what a
having me.
career you've had, and I'm honored to hear this. It's a whole nother side of the industry that a lot of people don't know about, and so I hope that we can really bring this out. This is awesome. Thank
Thanks.
you.
And I mean, we represent an amazing team here at Rocket Cargo. There is, hundreds and hundreds of collective years of experience here. I'm just lucky enough and happy enough to be here to help run the team and help them be as productive as they can be.
Amazing. And
Thanks.
Final question. Who is your favorite act, favorite band to go watch?
My favorite show, I'm going to answer it differently.
Yes.
My favorite show of all time. People have always asked me, what was your favorite show? What was that one show that gave you the goosebumps? And there's a ton of them. But in 2014, I was lucky enough to be with Soundgarden in the Lollapalooza show in Buenos Aires.
Oh my gosh.
80,000 people, first time they'd ever played it. And them being one of my favorite bands of all time. That's the Goosebump show for me.
Makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much, Justin.
Thank you.